Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Donna Miller, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Purse Power. Today, my guest is David Miller, and David is an expert on Google Analytics. He has run a small business for many, many years. He is an exceptional businessman, and I'm thrilled to death to have him on our show today. If you're ever interested in seeing our prior episodes, you can go to pursepower.com and click on the Let's Share the Journey link. We've got about 70 programs posted, and we've talked with some of the national leaders about all kinds of things that are interesting to female business owners and business leaders. In addition to that, I post our program every Monday morning for every Friday at 10 Central. If you ever want to register, please go there. Okay, let me go ahead and begin by introducing David. David is the president of HK Consulting, which is a volunteer marketing and entrepreneurial consulting firm in Tulsa. He's the author of Before and After Auto Restoration, Done Right, and Hard Knocks MBA, The Search for Job Satisfaction and Business Success. He's been a featured speaker, guest educator, and trainer for businesses, associations, and companies nationwide. And again, I've heard him speak. That's why I asked him to be on our program. He's awesome. He is the founder of US Restoration and Brand New Muscle Car. And he's the creator, co-star, and producer of BNMC television series. It's called, official license Yenko and Gone in 60 Seconds. He's also founded Trinity Restoration, and he's an international automotive restoration services provider. I think it's also interesting that he's done a ton of sales in his career, and he took his revenue at Trinity from $0 to $6 million, reaching the top 1% of sales nationally. And he was on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing privately held companies in America for 2008 and 9. He's also done a bunch of stuff online. He's got national recognition through Chip Foose, Orange County Choppers, and MTV's Trick My Truck. Prior to Trinity, he spent a decade in telecommunications, serving in a number of executive sales and marketing roles. So he's got a ton of background, both running small businesses of all kinds and also at the corporate level with Fortune 500s. So let's go ahead and get started, David. We always want to learn more about you. Can you give us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yeah. So growing up, I was a car nut. My dad was a mechanic. And so I've always loved cars. I've always done it as a side gig. My mother was in telecom. And so she insisted I go to college. And so I did. And then when I got out of college, I followed her and I went into telecom for about a decade, a little more than that. And telecom kind of went sideways in the late 90s. And after a couple of corporate layoffs, I thought, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And so I decided to turn my hobby into a career and decided to jump off the cliff, quit my corporate job, gave up the good medical insurance and the politics and the BS, of course, and got into the auto restoration business and did collision for a little while, new car repair, on and off for a while, had a collision shop, a big one, kind of in the last few years gotten out of that. And then, old cars were always my passion. So they were always around. There was more and more and more of them. Then we finally figured out we could do just that. And then the television folks called. And so we did a couple seasons on what used to be called Velocity Channel, and which is now called Motor Trend TV. It's a cable network that does car stuff. And so we've done, our traditional business was restoring cars, which that's always the core business that pays the bills. That will probably never go away, at least in my lifetime. I'm 54. So by the time I'm ready to quit doing it, there'll still be old cars to restore. But the years sort of changed. And then along the way, about 15 years ago, parts manufacturers started to come out with entire bodies. And so there are about a dozen models that we can build completely new. So that's Brand New Muscle Car, and Brand New Muscle Car was always a side gig. And that's also the name of the television show. It's the name of the third book, if I ever write it. I've started it and then kind of stopped because we're doing so much cool stuff that I thought, well, I want this in the book. So I started it about 4 or 5 years ago and just told my publisher, who's a friend, I'll call you later. And
I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah. And it'll happen in the next 4, 5, 6 years, but he's patiently waiting. But we keep doing more television shows, more builds, more cool stuff. And so I want all that in the book. whenever that is. So that's probably a retirement project, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so we have our latest, greatest version of the restoration shop is called Unique Customs. And we do customs and restoration. And then we took over an old Ford dealership in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is a suburb of Tulsa. We took over the original Nelson Ford dealership. So we took over an old Ford dealership and turned it into just classic cars. So we do service, restorations, builds, a little interior, a little wiring, a little this, a little that. There's a lot of classic cars in Tulsa. It's a big market for that. Of course, we get customers from all over the country and sometimes other countries. But the service part of our business is probably the most exciting thing going forward, because people with really fancy old cars can't get them worked on. People just don't know how to do it, don't want to do it. If you have a $150,000 Mustang, it's hard to get an oil change. You pull into Jiffy Lube and they don't want their hourly employees to touch it. So they're willing to pay extra to have professionals, service their cars, tune up their cars, obviously work on their cars. And we'll put in air conditioning, fuel injection, disc brakes, all the things that didn't exist then that they want now. I mean, people with new cars are pretty spoiled. So that's exciting for us. I mean, that's a whole new, pretty new area where we'll essentially have a full-on dealership for just classics. Will we buy and sell a few cars? Yeah, probably. That's not really our thing, but that's another thing that people are on us to do. And then the TV show ran in 17, 18, and 19. And then COVID killed it for a little while.
Oh dear.
And so now we're talking to the TV guys. We're probably going to come back in 24. So we're probably going to build another car, do another show. Our show is 13 episodes is a full season. And so each season of our show follows us building one car start to finish. It's not one of those shows where we fight or throw things at each other, or there's no fake drama. We just talk about the car. We build the car. We explain the kind of the good, bad, and ugly of doing this kind of work. So it's a somewhat serious show for car people, and it shows us building an entire car start to finish. And of course we goof around a little bit and joke and tease each other, but it's not Orange County Choppers or American Choppers. So we're not throwing chairs through windows or anything. And my role in the organization, which is applicable to today. Sorry, I'm slowly getting to the point.
Okay. I'm
the sales and marketing guy. So I do the websites, I do the Google, I do the social media. I take all the photographs, all the videos. I'm on the TV show. I wrote the books. So when people come in or they call or they email, I also respond to that. So that's the sales side of it. So I do lead generation. We don't really call out, people call in because we've done so much online over the last decade, really. Every day, social media, every day, Google ads, every day analytics, every day SEO, that now, because of organization and discipline, and we'll talk about more about this later, but I do something every day that talks about a car we do probably a lot, like Mustang restoration, Camaro restoration, Bronco restoration, whatever it is. You guys can kind of imagine what we do and who we're trying to get, Corvettes or whatever the car is. Here we are years later. I've done it little by little by little by little over the course of years. Now, if someone goes on to Google and they're anywhere close to us, of course it works nationwide, but it works really good closer. I mean, Google knows where you are, what you do, what color your underwear is. I mean, they know this stuff, right? It's scary. It's scary, but it's useful. So it's both. I get that it's scary. But you can use that to your advantage in your business, because when a customer grabs their smartphone, right? Let's face it, smartphones are the new heroin, right? So a customer grabs their smartphone, they're in traffic, they're at a red light, they Google something, right? Purses or car restoration or lampshades or whatever it is, services, products, in my case, restoration. So they Google Chevelle restoration or Corvette restoration. Well, I've done over the course of the last decade, maybe a little longer, I've done hundreds, if not thousands of posts about that. So Google sees that, and what they're trying to do, and this is a supercomputer, so it's done in milliseconds, but what they do is they see that and they know that, and they say, this guy's an expert, and this person's in Oklahoma, this guy's in Oklahoma, boom, I'm the number one result, whether I pay for it or not. Now, I do also pay there's two sides to Google. There's the paid side and what they call the organic side, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just happens, right? It's the Impossible Burger, right? It's organic. And so you want both, honestly. You want a little paid and a lot of organic, because organic's free, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All you did was invest your time and trouble to prep it. And then boom, that person looks and they look for Camaro restoration. And I've posted 450 times on Camaro restoration. Google knows that. They say, this is your guy. And now the customer doesn't know that, but I pop up. And then they click on it and they go wherever I want them to go. In our case, it's the website. And I have a Camaro restoration page, right? I don't have a generic restoration page.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Camaro page for those guys, right? Or gals, right?
Okay.
Usually guys, but it could be gals. I don't care, right? I don't care if they're Martians, if they have money. So, and they like restoration. So they land on the page and they say, wow, here's a guy who loves Camaros, does restoration. Look at these pretty pictures, right? They jump onto social media. They also find all my Camaro junk, and then they call me or they email me, you know, and then I respond back. Yeah, I love Camaros. I love restoration. This is the greatest thing ever. Let's get together. And then they come to the shop and we have this amazing shop and they love it. And, you know, the magic happens. So, and that's my job, is to make that happen. And we are booked about 2 years out.
Wow.
But I keep going every day because you can't stop, because we're going to need these people. Sometimes it takes them months or sometimes years to decide to come in. So I'm constantly talking to people. We've got about 65 projects in the building. I've got double that on the waiting list. And I've got at least another 50 or 60 kind of hovering or circling. And 4, 5, 6 of them call every day and say, can I come in? No, hold on. Slow down.
Wow.
You know?
Good for you.
But you have to keep my point is you have to keep, it's a job. You got to grind at it. You got to work at it. Like my wife says, why are you doing social media every day if you're booked 2 years out? Well, if I don't, if you stop at some point, it catches up with you. So I keep going because I'm going to need the guy that saw me this morning for the first time ever. I'm going to need him in 6 months or a year, and I've had people call me, not just look at us. People look at us for years all the time. I don't even know it. Right. Well, with analytics, you can know it, but unless you look, you don't know it. But I have guys that'll call, have a serious conversation. We'll do all the legwork and then won't do it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I know I have to prep this, right? This is a long sales funnel. Now, not always. I mean, sometimes guys or gals will call and say, I'm coming in right now. You don't know me. I'm on the way. I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Hang on. We're booked.
Yeah. And one of the best things I ever did, and I sort of did it for fun, was I wrote a book. I wrote a book about auto restoration and I put it's on Amazon. You could buy it, but I don't care about that. I mean, I sell a book and make a buck as the author. Who cares? Right.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon, which looks cool. But what I did is I digitized it and put it on my website. And one of my main 10 pages on my website is book. And if you scroll through my website, you end up in that page kind of on accident, or, well, I did it on purpose.
Intentional. Yeah.
Intentionally, accidentally, intentionally. And you can thumb through the book online for free. Well, what does that do? It establishes me as an expert in the mind of the customer. I might not know crap, but I wrote that book and I got a picture of me standing in front of a really cool car and people think, well, this is the guy. I literally, no kidding, true story. I literally had a guy calls me one day and he says, my name is Frank. You don't know me. I'm a stunt man and a movie guy. And I'm driving from LA to New York on a project. And I've got my first car, 72 Chevelle. And I read your book while my wife was driving. And I'm going to stop in Tulsa on the way because Route 66 goes right through Tulsa. You pretty much can't drive from LA to New York without going through Tulsa. And he says, I'm going to drop my car off. You're going to stick in storage. I'm going to pay the storage. In a couple of years when I'm ready, you're my guy.
Wow.
And I said, what? And he said, I saw your website. I watched your TV show on YouTube. I read your book. You're my guy. Okay. Wow. And I still have that car in storage. And one day he'll call and say, go, but whenever he hits it big in Hollywood, nicest guy in the world. So is his wife. But that's the power of putting this stuff online. And I'm not saying everybody's got to write a book and do a TV show. I wouldn't even recommend that. Maybe the book part, but if you're I got a friend that's a wedding planner And she's been doing it for years and struggling, and she's the nicest person in the world. And she really is good at it. And she has a lot of great photography, right? It's a wedding, or it's weddings. And photography helps a ton. I take a lot of pictures and it helps. People are visual, videos, big. TikTok. I don't do TikTok. I'm getting ready to start. Believe it or not, it's not teenage girls. Well, it's not all teenage girls dancing. There's a lot of car stuff on there. Anyway, but I do everything else other than TikTok. But I'm about to start. But I told her, I said, Kimberly, her name's Kimberly. I said, Kimberly, write a book. You've got all this photography. You've been doing it 20 years. I know a guy that'll help you do it, my publisher. I said, you could have a book laid out in 90 days. Well, why would I write a book? Am I going to make money in a book? No, you're not going to make money in a book, but you're going to have a book and you're going to have copies you can hand out, and you're going to have it on your website. You're going to have it on your Facebook or whatever, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is, Pinterest probably. And you're going to be an expert. And then you're going to get more weddings because you wrote the book, right?
Sure.
And she's like, I'll think about it. And writing a book's not cheap, but it's not crazy expensive. I think I spent, this was several years ago before the world went crazy. But I spent like $5,000. In the world of business and advertising, that's a small investment. Yeah. $5,000 one time. A billboard is $2,000 a month. And that
works for years.
And it turns into a tree after 90 days because people drive the same route every day and they stop looking because they've seen it. So anyway, I mean, obviously, if you guys are interested in online advertising and tracking what you're doing online, there's nothing as cost effective as online. It's why, I mean, think about it. Google is a $50 billion a year company. It's bigger than GM. It didn't exist 10 years ago. It came out of nowhere. Why? Because it works. Nothing's more cost effective than Google. In our business, we spend, everything's different. Every product's different. Every market's different. Your competition's different. Our market, Tulsa, fairly small. Not a lot of smart competition, right? I'm not up against a lot of big national chains that have a professional doing their Google. I'm up against a bunch of mom and pops. But we spend $30 a day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With
That's
Google.
Reasonable. Yeah.
Google does it by the day. Don't ask me why. That's how they do it. You set your budget by day, $5, $10, $100, and they'll tell you, like they tell me every 90 days, it's not enough. If you were going to max out, you'd be double. Well, guess what? We're swamped. I don't want to spend double. But they can keep telling me that. It's fine. But I mean, that's so reasonable. It's crazy, right? $30 a day, $900 a month ish, right? Because it varies. It's not perfect. You can't do anything for $900 a month. You can't do TV, radio, phone book. Now I'm dating myself. But I've done all that. I've done TV, radio, magazines, local newspapers, phone books, billboards. There's nothing. They're all more money than that by far. Now, here's the other great thing about being online. And now we're really getting to the point of today is the other great thing about online is you can track it. So most advertising, there's a very famous saying, I can't remember the guy's name, but he once said, I know half my marketing's not working. I just don't know which half. And that is so true, right? If you spend whatever, X on TV, it's working, it's not working. You don't know where it's working. It's a shotgun. Boom, it's out there. You don't know who it hit and who it didn't hit and who's the wrong people and all that. You can dial it in a little, but with online, again, they know everything, right? We're all online all the time. And they're tracking us all the time. Everything you do. If you press like, I mean, your phone's listening to you. I mean, how many of you have talked about something that you've never really searched, but you talked about it, and the next day Facebook shows you an ad?
That's scary. Yeah.
Now, they'll deny it, but it happens all the time. All the time. It's Minority Report. Remember Tom Cruise? Minority Report. Yeah. Right. You walk into Gap and it says, hello, Mr. Cruise. Last time you were here, you bought a size 36 pair of shorts. Would you like another pair? Beige or gray? They're doing that. Okay. Now, again, scary, and we can use it. So how do you protect your kids from it, or grandkids, right? And how do you use it to benefit your business? I mean, you got to go both ways, but it is very scary. It's not China yet, but there's not facial recognition and a database of all of us, but the Chinese are doing that. So anyway, we'll get there. So unfortunately, but anyway, so with analytics, now we're getting to the point. So Google has several, you've probably been online. Google has search, which is where they make their money. Google has YouTube, Google has analytics, Google has ads. Google will buy something else later. I mean, it's always changing. When I got Google certified trained 10 years ago, and I probably need to go back, I spent a week with a Google guru, and she had 10 commandments. And the first 10 commandment
Let's capture that. Okay. I'm sure we want to hear those. Okay.
The first 10 commandment is you can never set it and forget it, because Google is constantly changing it. And that goes for all online stuff. You can't build your website and leave it up for 7 years. 7 years is forever in computer year, right? It's like double dog years. You can never build your Facebook page and just leave it without posting. You can never set up your Google ads and not tweak it and look at it and manage it and change it. You can never set up your analytics is the backside, right? This is billing in arrears. So what Google Analytics does is you put a snippet of code on your Facebook page or your website or your ad or whatever you're doing, and Google tracks everything, and then you can log in and it runs reports. And it's free, right? It's free. The reason it's free is Google wants you to use Google, right? Because they want to keep being a $50 billion a year company. How they make their money, in case you guys don't know, is guys like me who runs ads. I pay. When you click on my ad, I pay, right? You as the searcher don't pay. It's free. But how they make their money is advertisers. So that's FYI. And that pays for everything else. The self-driving cars, the phones, none of that makes any money. They lose their butts on phones, cars. They do that stuff because they're bored. They do that because they have a giant building full of triple doctorates from MIT that have nothing else to do. But that's also the reason they change it all the time, because they're bored. They're constantly tinkering with it. And honestly, it's annoying. I mean, once you get it set up and you get it tweaked and it works awesome, I really wish they'd leave it alone, but they don't. So you have to constantly manage and maintain. So what analytics does is it allows you to log in and you see, for instance, usually your website and maybe your ads and maybe your social media. It'll do all of that. But the biggest thing is your website. And what happens is when people go to your website, Google, obviously, again, Google sees all, right? Well, they tell you, okay, Bob Smith, they don't give you a name. That's the one thing they don't give you, because then the privacy people will be all over them. Do they know the name? Yes. Do they give it to you? No. But a person got on your website at 3:07 today, and it's a male. He's 40 to 50. He lives in Cleveland, Ohio. He likes the Browns, not the Bears. He loves horseback riding. He hates Corvettes. I mean, he likes the color purple. Like, they will tell you all this stuff.
Wow.
And what's again, scary, but useful. I'm not saying it's not scary, because it is. I'm a libertarian, so it's scary. But as a business, it's great to know that. Like, okay, so last month, X number of people came to my site. They're 75% men. Good to know. There's 75% women. Good to know, right? They all live in Cleveland. I mean, or what, it's just, it will tell you that. It'll tell you cities, states. It won't give you addresses, right? It doesn't give you, you can imagine there's a line. They draw a line where to stop. They know it. They know your GPS coordinates when you get on, but they're not going to give us that. Now, do they use it? Yes. Do they sell it to other big companies? Yes. That's the reason you're talking on your Apple phone and Facebook shows you an ad. How did Facebook get that? Apple and Facebook share data. Google and Apple share data. They're frenemies, right? They compete, but they also share, right? So again, scary, useful.
Wow. So tell us how you use the data. So when you look at Google Analytics and you're trying to manage your business and spend in the right places and do the right things, what do you do? How do you analyze that data?
Okay, so there's a million uses for the data. The biggest thing is obviously customer intelligence, right? Just you as a business knowing, everyone is coming to my site in the middle of the night, right? You'd want to know that. Now, for me, here's a good example. And this goes to the other side of where and how to advertise, right? Because here's the thing about advertising. I talked about TV being a shotgun, right? You don't want a shotgun. right? If you advertise on TV, I don't care if you're Tom Cruise, 99% of the people that see it are not your customer. It's just statistics. It's just math, right? So is that a good investment? Maybe. Kind of depends on what you're doing. But what you want to do, ideally, right, in theory, is you want to rifle, right? You want to say, that's my person, boom, right? If you can, or as much as you can, right? None of this is perfect. Marketing is more art than science, which makes it very frustrating. Coffee helps, Starbucks. Anyway, or Dutch Brothers. Dutch Brothers half the price. So anyway, I stick with Starbucks because I'm a dummy. Anyway, so I'm sure Dutch Brothers will get me eventually. But anyway, but you want to rifle it. So if you're going to rifle it, like for my business, you can tell Google or anybody else, I want to run my ads like I run my ads during the day. I ran them 24/7 at first. And then I realized nobody looks at night. And even the people that look at night, those freaks that are up on a Tuesday at 3 a.m., they don't got any money.
They're not your customers. Okay,
right.
Yep.
So you can follow them when they see your ad, they click on it, they go to your site, then you can see where they went. What pages that's the other thing about analytics. What pages did they go to? What did they look at? What did they click on? Did they call me? Did they email me? Did they go to the contact page and contact me? Google will tell you all that. So I know that people in the middle of the night don't ever buy a car or become a customer. I know that. So I shut my ads off from midnight to 6 a.m. Well, that's a big chunk of the day. That saves me money, right? So my $30 a day now gets spent more during the day and not at all at night.
It goes farther.
I get more bang for my buck, right? That's what advertising is about, bang for buck, right? Now, you can also do, and I don't do this, but you can also do days of the week, hours of the day, right? I could look at, oh, well, the people from, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. are great, and the people in the afternoon aren't so great. And I could adjust my budget. I could say, spend all my money in the morning, spend 75% of my money in the morning. I don't do that. I don't go that crazy. But for me, it was easy to know, don't do it at night. That they just, and my customers, every product's different. We're talking about old car restoration, right? It's 90% men. It just is, right?
Sure.
Again, math, right? Not politics, math. So now here's an interesting note. When I was in the collision business, and ladies, I'm making no statement about your driving ability. Again, math. In the collision business, all the shops are run by men. All the shops are owned by men. So most collision shops, and this is how I beat my competitors, one of the ways, they advertise to men. They have a man on Discovery Channel talking about, just man. Well, guess what? If you do the research, which no one does, 75% of the customers, 65, 2/3 of the customers in collision are women.
You bet. That's what Purse Power is about, by the way. Do you know women make 80% of all purchasing decisions?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Women run the world. Hello.
Yeah.
But men don't care about that. So I do, right? I want to win. So I want to win. I'm beating my competitors. So they're running ads on Tool Time or some junk, Motor Trend. Guess when I ran TV for collision years ago, I did it during Oprah, Dr. Phil. It was women. And I had a beautiful, clean shop with a really nice bathroom, and I had a playroom for the kids. I was all about women. We had a coffee bar. Saturday mornings, I'd have nail people come in and do free nails.
Oh my gosh!
We called it Ladies' Day. Ladies' Day is like my crowning achievement. That was like the best idea I ever had. I killed it. I destroyed other collision shops, and they could not figure out why. But it's okay. So I'm out of the collision business now. So in the restoration business, it is men. It's exactly what you think it is. But here's the thing about Google. Google can tell you, here's the thing. A lot of business owners think I'm the customer, right? And you might not be.
Right.
You might not. In collision, for lack of a better term, soccer mom, 30 to 50 women. That was the customer. I was not the customer. I like women a lot. You know, I love women. So I'm in, you know, and at my charities, I would support charity. I would do breast cancer walks. And I mean, you know, women, you know, anyway, all my charity giving, fundraising, you know, yellow ribbon moms and all that stuff, Blue Star moms and all that stuff. It was great. I had a ball. Women are fun, turns out. So anyway, but you got to know your audience, right? I mean, that's marketing 101. So what you want to do, okay, let's say you're a woman and you're doing purses and you think, okay, the customer's a woman. You might as well check. You know, you might as well check. Google will tell you. And is it a young woman, an old? I mean, there's a huge difference between a 20-something girl in Seattle and a 55-year-old woman in Plano, Texas. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, women are not no group of humans is a ubiquitous block.
Just for reference, the people that are involved with Purse Power tend to be older women, more mature women. A lot of them are consultants, they're coaches. Yeah. So we're trying to get women to use their economic power to drive change. That's where the Purse Power came from.
Right. Okay, I get it. You're not selling purses.
Yeah. So everything you're talking about, and I want people to ask some questions, but when we're thinking about our businesses, we're stretched very, very thin. And you are energetic as all get out. And it sounds like you're doing lots of things, lots of different places, highly successfully.
It's fun.
How do we decide where to put our energy, where to put our social posts, where to put our money from Google advertising suggestions?
Yeah, analytics. I mean, analytics. And here's the good news. And this was also, I think this is in the 10 Commandments. Anyway, this was good from the class. When in doubt, right, you get lost. You forget what she taught, right? Because it's been 10 years. There is a YouTube video that will explain it. Whether it's cleaning a rifle or changing a tire or photoshopping a photo, or especially, remember, Google owns YouTube, how to do analytics, how to do ads, how to do SEO. There's books on it, but you could literally Google it or jump on YouTube and search it, same difference. And there's a video that will tell you, you know, if you think, okay, I heard David, sounded great, analytics sounds fun. How do I actually do it? Not only does Google have web pages where you can just read it, they've got professionals on videos in a classroom for free videos, days of it, where they tell you, go here, click this, set this, do that. So with analytics, you can track, it really started as tracking websites, right? But then it was, let's track who comes and goes to my website, what they do, and who they are, so I can understand my customer better. Like, don't assume you know the customer, right? Check it out, right? You think it's women, make sure it's women. Yeah. It probably is women, but make sure you're right. And it's free. It's all free. Then they said, okay, well, the website's great, but now let's track the ads and we'll connect the two, right? So you can do either one or both. And then they added social media. And I mean, even as much as like, you can post a video on YouTube or a reel on TikTok or Facebook calls it reels, Instagram video. You can put a Google Analytics code on that and it'll track that and throw it in with your other results. And then it'll connect all those dots. You know, this person in Cleveland watched your TikTok video, jumped to Facebook, jumped to your website, picked up the phone and called you. They know all that.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Again, scary, useful. It's a little scary. But that analytics will tell you who your people are. Here's the other thing too. They'll tell you what your competitors are doing. So if you're new, all you got to do is figure out your competitors and Google will help you analyze what they're doing. Yeah, remember, don't reinvent the wheel. It's out there, right? So, and maybe you're not new, but your competitor's killing you. Figure out why. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Google will help you. You can track their stuff. It's crazy.
We've got some questions coming in, so I want to go ahead and ask them here. So Nan is asking, what specific services do you provide related to Google Analytics? And can you put his information in the chat? So they're wanting to contact you. How much consulting do you do around Google Analytics these days?
Honestly, I just do it when it's fun, like today. If I have a minute and it's fun, I do it. I'm not really a consultant. Even at OSU, all those things you saw, it was all volunteer. I just did it for fun. So I do a tiny bit of it, but we're so busy at our real company that I don't even have time. but I do have a certain group of little friends and family that I've met over the years. None of them are real family, but I kind of adopt people. That's when you're from Oklahoma. That's what you meet people like boom, boom, you're friends. And then you ask a favor. It's like sure. That's what's great about Oklahoma. So and some other places too, but Oklahoma. But yeah, email me, text me, call me. If I have time, I'll help you. I don't have a lot of time, but I don't charge. I don't do it for real. And I've always just done it for fun. And I'll meet students or new entrepreneurs or crazy people who have a great job and think they want to quit, which I don't recommend. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did that, but I don't recommend jumping off the cliff. I really don't. If you have a great job and great pay and great benefits and you can stand your boss, keep it. But anyway, because entrepreneurship is hard. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly, right? It's like, we're getting ready to storm the beach at Normandy. I'm gonna show you the first 10 minutes Saving Private Ryan. It's not pretty. But if you want to go on the beach, we'll go. But I want you to, it's going to be ugly and people are going to get killed. So anyway.
Could you put your contact information in the chat real quick?
Sure.
David, and then I'll go ahead and ask you some more questions here.
Yeah. Oh, there's a chat. Nice.
Yes, okay. Indeed. There you go.
This is cool. Okay. All right. I didn't even know that. I saw the little red thingamajigger.
Yeah, he just for reference, guys, he's never used Zoom before. So this is an experience.
Yes, even during COVID, we stayed open. We were in person. It was great. So, yeah. And just so you guys know, I've had it and I've had the shot. So you're all safe.
Okay, you're all safe. Okay, good deal.
You're all safe.
Okay, so she's asking, what are your suggestions once you've identified your avatar to get more women over 65, for example, to your website?
Well, the first thing I would do is boom. Okay, so you've got to figure out, like I said, you got to know your customers. You got to figure out, and like you said, women 65, certain hobbies, certain interests. And you can even do that on Facebook. Facebook, obviously, you know how you go into Facebook and you like stuff all the time. If you like Top Gun 5 times in a row, you're going to see more Top Gun. I mean, it's a supercomputer, right? Mm-hmm, it's very smart, and it's constantly trying to figure out how to get you back. Constantly get you back. There's actually a great thing on Netflix. It's a documentary about the mind control that social media is doing to all of us. I can't think of the name of it. It's really good.
I saw that too. I was trying.
It's really scary, but it's really good. Yeah. And the number one thing I took away from it, and I did, is turn off all your notifications so that the machine can't try to pull you in. I get on social media when I want to, and then it's off. Mm-hmm. And then I don't think about it because it's not bing, 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 bing. And do you really care that one of your friends you haven't talked to in 20 years just liked something? No, it's just trying to draw you in. So anyway, it's part of my job. So I look at it all the time, but I don't have to, right? I literally can go out of town to my family for the weekend and I don't think about it. And that's what most people need anyway. Screen time, right? We do it for our kids. We don't do it to ourselves. Like screen time, limit it. It's evil. Blue blockers. Can you guys see my glasses? See the blue?
Yeah.
When you get your next set of readers, ask to add blue blocker. It makes the screen not make your eyes tired. It's amazing. You go home and you're like, oh, my eyes don't hurt.
I feel better. All right. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure we get to the question. So let's see here. Does he do the ads only or only set up the tracking? What about analytics tracking? Like he's talking about. Okay. So, I was interested too. So I've got a YouTube channel and I've got all these other places and I'm trying to figure out how you optimize this stuff.
Yeah. So again, remember, Google wants you to do this, right?
Yeah.
Because it brings you into their web more. Yeah. Again, good, scary. So you have to keep a realistic perspective, but go into Google and put Google Analytics and it'll pop up. I think the address is actually google.analytics, but it'll come up. And then click it and it's free. You log in, you give your name, your phone number. If you have a Google account, it becomes tied to that. So you've probably already done all that, but it'll email you and you have to confirm and all that junk. And then you go in and set up an account and you put in your business name, your all the information. And then, again, YouTube videos that will explain there's a button where you have the tracking code and it's just a snippet of code that you copy and paste. And there are videos you can watch that show you how to add that to your website, to videos, to posts, to basically anything
I didn't know you
online.
could do that. Wow.
Yes. And then once it's in there, when people start looking at it or hitting it, when it starts getting activity, it will report back. That's what the code does, is it fires information back to the all omnipotent Google Death Star. No, it's the cloud, but it's not. Anyway, it's intangible. You can't touch it, but it's a cloud. A bunch of servers somewhere in a bunker in Coweta, Oklahoma. They have them all over. But and then when you log into your Google account, you can run reports and see all that. And it'll show you who's on your website, who's looking at your ads, who's on your YouTube. It'll connect the dots and tell you if it's the same people. It'll give you percentages. Hopefully it'll be, end of the week. And it does have a real-time button, but that's not great. It's okay. Like if you're just curious, you can log in and see who's on your website right now and like what city they're in and what, but really it's better to look like end of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, all time. And then, because again, this is typical marketing. You're looking for trends, right? You don't care about one woman in Cleveland. You want to know how many women, how old they are, how many are in Cleveland, how many are in Cincinnati. I don't know why I'm hung up on Ohio today. I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like Miami, Chicago, New York. I don't know. That's just the stuff you want to know. You want to know that 85% of your customers love horses. I mean, it'll tell you stuff like that. It's crazy. Now, and some of that's applicable to what you do and some of it's not. I mean, you know what I mean? But trust me, when you look, there'll be a couple of things you'll think, oh, wow. Okay, bingo. That's cool. Right. Sometimes it's not as big of a red flag as, like I was saying, in collision, everybody advertises to men and the customer all women. Like that's a big one. But sometimes it's subtle stuff, if every product is different. So, I know cars. So for me, it always comes back to cars. But one of the other 10 commandments, and see if you can follow me here, and this applies to any business, I'll use cars. Actually, she used ice cream and I love ice cream. So ice cream's a good one. Everybody likes ice cream, right? So in the Google class, they said, look, say you're icecream.com. Okay, I get it, right? That'd be a good one, by the way. I should look and see who owns that. I never have. But anyway, somebody owns that, right? It's worth it. So let's say you sell ice cream, right? Well, some people are going to search ice cream, but what are people more likely to do? Flavors. You always want to have flavors, right? So you would not want to have an ice cream. Well, you'd want to have an ice cream website, but you'd want to have a chocolate page and a strawberry page and a vanilla page and a Rocky Road, because people are going to search Rocky Road ice cream or strawberry ice cream, right? So it's important to build your website that way, do your posts that way, do your social media that way, your videos that way, because this narrows it down. Again, shotgun, rifle. So for me, I do some auto restoration because people do search that. But more often than not, what they search is Camaro restoration, Mustang restoration, Corvette again, flavors, right? Flavors, really important. Let's say you make cowboy boots, right? Cowboy boots, right? Do you make men's cowboy boots? Yes. Do you make kids' cowboy boots? No. Don't post anything about kids' cowboy boots. And in Google, not only do you have what's called keywords, right? So words that trigger a response, right? So men's lizard cowboy boots. Okay, I do that. That's a keyword. It's called a positive keyword. I want people. There are also negative keywords. You can block stuff. If you look in analytics and you don't make kids cowboy boots and you're getting a bunch of people for kids cowboy boots, you want to put that in as a negative keyword. You want to block that. So when somebody searches kids cowboy boots, you don't come up. Coming up doesn't cost you money, but when they click it, you paid. So, and you don't want that traffic. You don't want them calling, right? You don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's another important thing to understand about Google is they have negative keywords. And every business does one thing and not another, right? You just got to know that, broccoli ice cream. If somebody searches that, I don't want that. And because it's gross, but, and I don't do it. I don't do broccoli ice cream. It's terrible. Sardine ice cream. Nope. No, thank you. And the other thing Google will do is they will show you search results for everyone in the world that hit your deal, and you can see exactly what they typed. You can see what keyword they triggered. You can also see how they phrased it.
Oh,
You
wow.
can see exactly. Here's the thing, right? Is it a high heel or is it a pump? Right? And what do people call? Here's the thing. You call it one thing, they might call it something else, and you've got keyword A, but not keyword B, and everybody in a certain part of the country, right, is calling it the other thing, and you don't have it. So you might still show up, but it won't be as good. Google won't, boom, right? As my favorite marketing professor used to say, it's hard to sell soda to people who drink pop. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Right? But in Oklahoma, we call it pop. In California, where I lived in 4th grade, they called it soda. It's actually really soda pop, but whatever, right?
There you go.
But you got to know what people are actually typing.
Yeah.
Are they typing lampshade? I don't know. My wife's an interior designer. There's 50 words for lampshade, but anyway, it's a lampshade to me. There's a French word, there's an English word. I mean, but if you're in the lampshade business, you got to know that, right? And you got to have a page, right? If a huge number of your customers are typing strawberry ice cream and you don't have a strawberry ice cream page, that's bad.
That's a problem.
Right? Because your competitor will, and they'll come up first. The number one thing Google does, Google tries to give the customer the very best result. Why? They don't want Bing to get any bigger than they are. And Bing is insignificant. I think it's like 90-something% of all searches are done online. Here's an interesting fact.
Wow.
85% of all products are searched online before they're bought. 85% of products are searched online before they're bought, even if the customer knows what they're going to buy.
Wow.
85% of those are on Google. I think it's like 90 now, but Bing is the competitor, and they're like single digits. I mean, it's laughable.
Wow.
So that's why you want to be on Google, and Google wants to give you the very best result because they want to stay huge. And here's the other thing. Google's very smart. Let's say you do one thing and advertise for another, they won't even run the ad. They'll catch that before it ever goes up. If you're cowboyboots.com and you run an ad for ice cream, they won't even show it. They'll bust you, and you can get suspended for doing stuff like that. Or what I like to call naughty stuff. They don't do naughty. If you do naughty and you run an ad for lampshades and you're hoping they'll click on it and see porno, nope. They'll just shut you down. Like, not only will it not run, your account will go bing, suspended. I mean, they know. So, but they want the result, and obviously you do too. You want the result to be as accurate as possible.
Yeah.
Right. Because you don't want the wrong people. Why would you answer the phone for the wrong people? Right. So, and you can narrow that down. At first, when you run Google and you do analytics, you kind of do it a little wide open just to get, here's the other thing. It takes about 10 days, call it 2 weeks, 10 business days to really see a change or a result. So when I help someone set up a Google for the first time, I say, let it run for a couple of weeks. Don't even worry about it. It's $25, $30 a day. Who cares? Right. Because the reason is you're going to get a lot of the wrong people, but you're going to let Google gather data. Then you go in and run the report and see who was it, what they type, what did they search. You might be surprised, right? You might get you will be surprised. You'll get some good, you'll get some surprising bad. You'll get some surprising good. You'll get crap that you're like, somebody typed that? I mean, at 3 a.m, you'll get that, weirdo stuff. You'll get hits on your stuff that they didn't even mean for you to come up, but they did. And you'll say, okay, that's a negative keyword. Like, I'm in restoration. I don't want boat restoration, house restoration, fire, water damage. I don't want any of that. But people accidentally get me. And so I had to go in and block all that. And oh my gosh, sailboat restoration, this boat. You're supposed to, again, 10 commandments. You're supposed to go in every 30 days, run that report and just check. And every 30 days, you'll find a couple to add. And some of them are obscene. I mean, some of them are laughable. It's crazy, but
I want to get
People
at the 10 commandments. The other thing is we are almost out of time. This has
sorry.
gone really fast. No,
Oh,
it's all
sorry.
good. So how can we get the 10 commandments?
I can email them to you. I'll have to
Okay.
dig them up. I don't, believe it or not, I don't have them laminated on the wall, but I
Okay.
should. I used
Okay.
to have them memorized. I don't. It's been 10 years.
Sure.
The lady I took the class from at the time, she flew over from London to give the class. It was a week-long class. And she was one of 5 people in the world that had her level of certification. Because
Wow.
Google has levels, and this lady was like Yoda. And she
Wow.
was super nice. I can't even remember her name, but I have her contact info. But she lives in London and does Google for giant corporations. And by the way, all this stuff I said, I don't do this, but this flavors thing can go all the way down. And she showed us how Sony does it. You can imagine Sony does this right. Down to products, down to features, down to options, down to colors. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Wow.
Sony sells electronics.
Right.
And literally they track it with analytics all the way down to, it's not just TVs versus iPads. It's this TV, that size, this pixel rate. It's crazy.
Wow.
And then, of course, they got a room full of people doing this full time, but they take it all the way down and they know, oh, well, this guy, Reebok, this guy likes this shoe in this size in this color with these shoelaces. It's crazy, the detail. No, none of you guys will do that. But just so you know, it goes, it's to the nth degree. And how they store, this is, in case you wondered, this is why Google needs buildings, bunkers all over the country full of servers. Because you can imagine how much data this is. It's insane.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And the Chinese government's doing it all the people, but that's really insane, but whatever.
We're not there yet. Okay. So I want you to summarize for us, please, your top 3 learnings and top 3 actions you want us to take.
Okay. Obviously, rule number 1, the one I haven't forgotten, is you can't set it and forget it. They're constantly tweaking this. So even if you get it working fabulously, it will decline over time. If there's an old saying in nature, biology, the natural state of things is to decay. If you stick a chair outside and leave it alone, what's it going to do? It's going to fall apart. That's life. Same thing online, right? The natural state of things is to decay. So you've got to constantly be on it, maintaining it, checking it, right? And even I don't do it as much as I should because I'm busy. But if we were slow, I'd be doing it, right? So number 1, you cannot set it and forget it. That's true for life. That's true. That's definitely true for Google. They're constantly fooling with it. Facebook is constantly fooling with it, right? And that stuff changes. If you're killing it on Instagram today, you won't in 10 years. There'll be TikTok or some new thing that we don't get, right? This stuff changes, right? Yeah. So that's it. That's the big one, is you can't set it and forget it. The other thing is, and maybe it's chicken and egg. You got to be online. If you're not online, you're insane. It takes time, right? But it's free. Other than time, right? It's not free, but nothing's free. But you don't write a check, right? So what I found, there's a triangle with people. They find you on search, right? They find you on the web, your website, and then they find you on social media. If they make those 3 connections, you're their person. Done. Okay. You're sold. Because here's the thing. They don't want to look 10 places. The minute they feel like you're it, they stop looking. They're lazy. They're at a light. The light is red. They're on their phone. Boom. This is purse power. I love it. Next. Goldfish have an average attention span of 9 seconds. Americans are now below that on average.
Oh, geez.
It's horrible.
Wow.
The average American's at like 6 or 7. Honestly, that's true. Google it. I'm not kidding. So you want to think about that. Online, you want to be in Google, whether it's free or paid or a little of both. And by the way, paying a little is better than nothing. I do have an account I run. It's a little side hustle. I spend $5 a day. Now, am I getting my money's worth? No. Am I priming the pump and making sure Google shows me? Yes. Because a little, it's like tipping a waiter. The better you tip, the better the service. You got to pay to play. It's the old sales thing, pay to play.
Okay.
So anyway, so a little Google ads is better than nothing, but you want to have a website. You want to be in the search, on the web, and some social media. Now, quick note on social media. All social media is not created equal. And this is another part about knowing your customer. What social media is your customer on?
Yeah.
Is it Facebook? Young people don't do Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook's now uncool. Right. So if I was going after 25-year-olds, I wouldn't be on Facebook. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But do 25-year-olds have $100,000 to spend on a Mustang? No.
Right.
Guess where I actually kill it? LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Car posts on LinkedIn kill it for me. In the beginning, I didn't even do LinkedIn. I thought, it's for finding a job.
Mm-hmm.
But where are doctors, lawyers, CEOs, people with $100,000 to spend on a Mustang? LinkedIn.
There you
right?
go.
I do okay on Pinterest and Instagram and things like that, but you got to know your customer again, right?
Mm-hmm.
That came down on the mountain from Moses, right? You got to know your customer.
That's what Nita's saying too.
Are they, TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on TikTok. All the kids are on TikTok. Apparently there's a lot of shops on TikTok. So I'll probably start doing a little TikTok because we're doing service. Now, 25-year-olds do have money for oil changes. So this is going to get weird, but know your customer, know where they're at, know where to find them. Right. And then, know the message. This is part and parcel, but soda pop, what you got to know, what are they looking for?
Which term do they use?
Yeah. How are they expressing it? Here's the thing, feedback, right? So Google Ads, if you create an ad for ice cream, that works. But if a person's searching strawberry ice cream and it says strawberry ice cream, they're 3 or 4 times as likely to click it. And guess what? When they email me, guess what? If they email me and say, and I have a generic response, but I alter it every time. So if somebody says, I am looking for Impala restoration, what's the title of my email? Impala restoration. It is not restoration, right?
Yep.
Because what does an Impala person want to see? Impala.
Sure.
So think about your customers that way. And every communication I do says Impala. I love Impalas. We live for Impalas. You love Impalas. I love Impalas. Get over here, brother. Give me a hug. That's what they want to hear. And you got to do that with your customers too. Whatever you're selling, lampshades, right?
Perfect. This has been tremendous. I love your energy. We learned a lot. We are out of time.
Okay. Sorry.
No. It's all good. It's all good. Any final thoughts?
Well, perseverance. Don't give up. Determination. Remember, Saving Private Ryan. Go back and watch the first 10 minutes. You're on the landing boat. I won't sell it to you. It's ugly. So, it gives me goosebumps talking about it. It's a fight and you got to stay in the fight. Don't give up. You can outlast your competitors. You really can. Most people are so lazy these days. So lazy. If you're an entrepreneur, here's the other thing. 99% of all great businesses don't do something different. They do the same thing as the other guy, better. And customer service has gone to hell, right? Be nice to your customers. Be happy they walked in. They are dollar bills on legs. When they come in, hey, good morning. How are you? I'm so glad to see you. Nobody does that anymore. And that's what people still want. Nothing's new under the sun. Nothing's new under the sun, right? 2,000 years ago, people in the Roman Forum were doing the same thing. They just didn't have gunpowder, electricity, and a few other things we invented since. Right?
Very good. Very good.
People have not changed.
I just wanted to say good afternoon. When I say afternoon, I'm in the UK, and Victoria Woods literally just introduced me to Donna. Well, she gave me a link, and so I thought, let me just quickly join the last 5 minutes. So I have no idea what you were talking about initially, but I kind of got the gist of it. So thank you for allowing me to join the last 5 minutes of your call.
Glad to see you. I'm glad you can make it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here. Again, we do this every Friday at 10 Central. You can always register for our sessions on our webpage, pursepower.com. And I hope to see you next week. Remember, please, Purse Power, we have it. Let's use it.
Yep.
Women run the world. Friday. All right. Thank you, David. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye.